I love Frisco. That's first and foremost. I've spent the past 34 years in corporate America as an executive, and about 3 years ago, I realized that this is where I wanted to donate some of my time in giving back to our city as a leader and using my experience in corporate to help lead the city. And so 2021, I decided to run for office, and I have not looked back. I love governing. I love where Frisco is going, and I want to be a part of that growth. The role of a city council member basically is to govern. And what that means is to lead the city in the direction that it needs to go, whether it's reviewing the budget and approving the budget, whether it's selecting a city manager, which we had to do for the first time because our city manager, our only city manager, George Purifoy, left the role after 34 years. So we had to make a decision on who would fill his shoes. And I think we've done that successfully. It's determining what the tax rate is for our residents and making ordinances and policies that govern the direction of the city. So it's all about governing and ensuring that the city is headed in the right direction. My policy priorities for second term are really the same ones that I have for the first term. The first one is public safety. You know, we've been the safest city in the country for the past 2 years, and no one wants to move to the city that's not safe. And so ensuring that we have the right personnel, the right equipment, the right facilities, the right technology, that's my priority. Public safety is number one. Number two is ensuring that we provide tax relief to our residents. Over the past 10 years, we've lowered taxes about 4 times, and we've offered increased homestead exemption. I want to continue down that trajectory and hopefully get to a point where we max out our homestead exemption at 20%. The third one is smart growth, ensuring that we're growing healthy. Everybody knows Frisco's growing. I want to make sure that we're growing in the right direction, and that means sometimes saying yes to certain companies coming into our city and no to others. So I want to ensure that we're growing, but we're growing in the right direction. And if there's a fourth one, I would add is community engagement, making sure that we get our community involved in the direction of the city. And so I've been very deliberate and intentional about getting out and getting involved in those things that matter to our residents. First term, I think I hit over 300 events my first term. So I anticipate doing the same second term. Because what I find is when residents know that their issues matter to you, then you will get that support you need. For us, it's all about ensuring that, again, we grow and we're growing healthy. And so the first thing I look at is the safety record. Are we continuing to be a safe city in our country? And our data shows that every indicator, whether it's crimes against individuals, whether it's traffic and vehicle accidents, those numbers are going down. So we are headed in the right direction. We do have an area that we are flat to going up in, and that's burglaries and stolen vehicles. So that is something that we're keeping our eyes on as a city. But that's the first one, is are we continuing to stay safe for our residents? And that will always be a measure. The second one is, are we growing? I'm a firm believer that if you are not growing, you are in decline. And so I want to make sure that companies are continuing to knock on our door and say, hey, we want to house our corporation here in your city. So are we growing, and are we getting those calls and having those deals that really push our city forward? And then third is, do we have a healthy culture? People want to live here, or people continuing to want to move here, or people feeling good about our school systems and all the things that we provide. And so we are, for the first time in a very long time, going to be doing a resident survey that gives us feedback on how the residents are feeling. And so that would be we'll do it this year as a baseline, but ongoing, I'd like to see that number continues to grow. Very important. For 34 years, I've been in corporate America. Actually, I was a relocation transplant, my husband and I, 20 years ago with Frito-Lay. And so for 30 years, I've been an executive, and probably a third of that, I've been a C-suite executive. So I know that it's important for corporations and the cities that they dwell in to have a relationship. I think our EDC does a really good job with business retention and ensuring that once we move those companies here, we don't just let them go, but we're talking with them about how they grow their talent base and how they can get entrenched in the community. So I think it's absolutely paramount that we are very strategic about ensuring that we communicate with the companies that call Frisco home. So many things. As everybody knows, World Cup is coming, and so we are going to be, one of those host cities that we're going to get a lot of foot traffic into our city. So tourism numbers are going to go through the roof. So we've got to be ready for that. Economically, our small businesses are going to benefit from that. So we're excited about that. A lot of the development that we're doing really is kind of geared around being done before World Cup. And so we've invested over $68 million in downtown. We are finally getting our downtown off the ground. It's finally getting ready to look like it's a part of the city and not land that time forgot. So we're going to have reinvestment in roads that are happening down there. We're going to have what we call our 4th Street Plaza. We're going to have a parking garage in that area. So I'm really excited about downtown revitalization. I'm excited about what World Cup is going to bring to us from a growth perspective. I'm looking forward to Universal. It's not for me. It's for ages 3 to 11, but I'm looking forward to what it's going to do in terms of adding that component to our resident experience for those who have kiddos that are in the age range of 3 to 11 or those who have grandkids who are in that same range. I think it's going to be a great offering for our residents, as well as it's going to drive tourism as well. And all the great things that PGA is going to do as well, I think is going to be exciting for us. We're also having the Academy of Country Music that's coming back to the Star this year. So a lot of great things to be excited about in Frisco.